What if I told you it took only about 3 ingredients to make this deliciously creamy protein ice cream that's only about 280 calories and close to 30 grams of protein? If you're on a weight loss journey or just craving sweets and want something ridiculously easy and delicious, this recipe is about to be a game changer for you. So I'm a health and nutrition coach, and honestly, I eat one of these almost every day. This protein ice cream has been a staple in my fat loss phase, especially in the summer and these hotter months, but mostly because it's a high volume, low calorie food, meaning it feels like you're eating a lot of food, especially when you whip it up in a Ninja Creami, or I'm gonna show you another method you can use, but it is still highly protein packed, low calorie, and insanely delicious. And yes, you can make it with 3 ingredients only, with or without an ice cream maker like the Ninja Creami. Let me give you a quick breakdown of each of these ingredients. Okay, so ingredient number 1 is coconut milk. Now, most of the time I'm an almond milk gal. I like that it's fairly light in calories and mixes well into pretty much most things. However, for any kind of ice cream base, you're gonna want something that has a little bit higher of fat content, similar to coconut milk. Now, that being said, you're gonna wanna find a coconut milk that isn't completely extracted from all of its fat. This type from Califia Farms has particularly been a good blend for me. It still has about 8 grams of fat per serving. Now, you can of course use things like cashew milk as well, which is also, low calorie, higher in fat of a milk. However, for those of us that have more sensitive digestive systems, cashew doesn't always agree, especially if you're on a low FODMAP diet. So hence the coconut milk for me. So end of story, just make sure you're picking some sort of milk base that is somewhat lower in calorie and a little higher in fat than most other milks. For this, you're probably gonna want about 1.5 cups for your base. Next, we're gonna add some protein powder. I like to use this vanilla whey from Prozis. It mixes really well and it has a great flavor and it has a little bit of creatine in it, which is great. I use about 30 grams of that protein powder, which is roughly about 110-ish calories and close to 30 grams of protein. Okay, the next thing that is really important to add that definitely makes the texture and the flavor pop is sugar-free pudding mix. Now, this is where you can get fun and creative because obviously you can choose from like a bunch of different flavors and types. The pistachio one, very solid. But you're gonna wanna add about 1 tablespoon of the sugar-free pudding mix into the blend. And this is just gonna add, again, that flavor, that creamy texture. And usually this equates to about like 30 calories or so. Now, this is just the base we're talking about, which of course ends up tasting great on its own. But if you really wanna get creative, then I gotta talk about some of my favorite additions and today's sponsor, Prozis. Obviously, like I said, I'm using their vanilla whey as my protein base, which blends in super great. But Prozis also has tons of different options that you can use as high quality protein mix-ins. For example, their protein granola blends in perfectly and gives this like really nice crunch while still adding an additional 6 grams of protein. Or if you want something even crispier and poppier, they have these protein crispies that you can mix in that just add, again, another nice texture feature and additional protein. But my favorite mix-in slash kind of topping from Prozis is the Choco protein crisp peanut butter. A little drizzle of that on top is like heaven. Made with Argentinian peanuts and protein Cocoa Krispies blended in there. It is the perfect combination of like creamy and crunchy, and it's so delicious. Totally just transforms the ice cream into like a gourmet dessert. And lastly, they have these delicious protein wafers that you can add on the side of your ice cream. You can crumble up and mix them into your protein ice cream, however you want to do it, but it's also another decadent add-in to your protein ice cream. Kind of gives that like cookies and cream vibe. If you want to try any of these awesome mix-ins, you can head over to prozis.com and use code Victorious10 for 10% off and a free gift. I'll be sure to link everything down below, and thank you to Prozis for sponsoring today's video. Now, aside from the mix-ins that you can obviously, mix in, there's a couple of other things that I can talk about to enhance your base as far as texture and flavor go that can go a long way. Now, if you want to go beyond a few of those base ingredients, the next step would be to add in something like a sugar-free vanilla syrup or a sugar-free maple syrup. Both those things really amp up the flavor and help to add additional kind of creaminess to the texture without additional calories, of course. Another thing I have started to do, which I also really enjoy, is instead of doing 30 grams of just whey protein, I do about 15 grams of whey protein and the other 15 grams casein protein. Again, just helps amplify a little bit more of the creamy texture. And lastly, I love to add just a pinch of salt in there. Salt also helps to bring out the flavors of things, especially in cold things. So highly recommend just adding a little bit of salt into your mix. Now, once you have all the liquids added in there, you're gonna go ahead and blend that till smooth. I like to use like a little hand immersion mixer, which works really nicely. And the next step is if you're using something like an ice cream maker or a Ninja Creami, you're gonna leave it in one of those Ninja Creami pints, and then you're gonna wanna freeze it for at least 8 to 12 hours. Now, a lot of people will say 12 hours. I've gotten away with 8 just fine. Depends on how cold your freezer is, really. Now, if you don't have a Ninja Creami or an ice cream maker similar to that, what you're gonna do is take that mix and put it into an ice cube tray. And again, freeze it. It'll freeze a little bit faster, so you can probably get away with taking it out of the freezer in like 4 to 6 hours. Now let's talk about your spin technique. For Ninja Creami style, what you're gonna do is take that little pint, pop it into your Ninja Creami, use the light ice cream setting. This is especially if it's not like full fat, right? Which it's not, we're not using like heavy cream like a typical ice cream would. Have it spin through that setting, then pop it out. You'll notice it's still a little icy, a little crumbly. I like to kind of scrape down the sides to make sure that, you know, the sides are mixing in too. And then what I do is usually add a splash more of coconut milk and then pop that back in for a respin. And usually by the second spin, it's great. Sometimes I'll need to do a third respin, really depends. But basically wait until it's a texture that you feel is something you'd enjoy. Now, the non-Ninja Creami way, if you're not using that or another ice cream maker, what you're gonna do is take those ice cubes that you froze, those frozen protein ice cream cubes, and you're gonna put them into a blender with a little splash of milk. And then you're just gonna blend until smooth, and it'll basically be somewhat the same. It may not be as frothy and creamy, but it's gonna be pretty darn close. And there you go. The end result is you get a delicious protein ice cream that's around 280 calories, 30 grams of protein, and keeps you full for a good long while because it's such a high volume food. It's great as a dessert, a breakfast, a little snack in the middle of the day. I've had it pretty much anytime, anyway, during the day. It's blood sugar friendly, macro friendly, and so satisfying. Again, the reason why this is such a great hack for, especially if you're trying to watch your calories or trying to lose fat or in kind of like a cutting season, is that it's really a great blend of protein, fat, and then like high volume food. All those things help a ton with feeling full and satisfied. So you're getting something that feels indulgent that also still aligns with your fitness goals. And that's really how sustainable nutrition works, is finding things that you can really enjoy during whatever phase of working on your nutrition that you're in. Nutrition shouldn't be something that you are schlepping your way through. So guys, let me know in the comments if this was helpful, or if you want more Ninja Creami recipes. I'm happy to make more of these because I get to eat them afterwards. And I'll be sure to link the products that I use directly below the video in case you're curious. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye!